like to call the meeting to order. And let's should I read this first?
Sure.
Okay. Welcome to the Town of Avon Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. If you are interested in having a copy of the agenda or the staff reports, they are available on the tables to the right of the audience. This meeting is being recorded for the public record. Because of this, we request that personal conversations are kept to a minimum and all cell phones are set to vibrate with any phone calls taken outside of chambers. If you are interested in commenting during any public hearing, please sign up on the sheets located on the tables to the right of the audience. When your name is called, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Please address your comments to the board and not to staff or to the appellant. Your comments should relate directly to the case at hand. We do understand that there may be several persons who wish to speak. The chair may therefore impose a time limit for each person. Federal law requires that the town make available to all attendees a Title VI public involvement survey. These surveys are on the table to the right of the audience. Members of the public who wish to complete the survey may do so and place them in designated area. If because of a disability, any person in attendance needs assistance or accommodation to fully participate in this meeting, please notify staff. Thank you for your assistance in facilitating a respectful, fair, and timely meeting. Again, welcome to our meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Should we do the roll call?
Paul Guckenberger.
Here.
Ann Inman.
Here.
Catherine Ransberg.
Here.
Marcy Tashler.
Here.
Marcus Turner.
We have a quorum.
We have no minutes to approve tonight, correct?
Yes, I didn't have time to get to the minutes. We've had some staff changes lately, hence our Drew Wilson being here to help today. Drew's kind of taken over our code enforcement role in addition to his MS4 enforcement role as well. And we'll let him talk after the meeting. But long story short, I've been doing the minutes for BZA and Plan Commission, where typically it is the code enforcement's role to do the BZA minutes. So I didn't have time to do them this month, but I'll get them to you next month.
Sounds good to us. Do we have any requests for continuance or agenda modifications?
We have none.
All right. Public comment. Do we have anybody that wishes to come up and speak?
This is for public comment for items that are not on the agenda.
We'll close the public comment then. Old business.
We have none.
We have none. New business is variance 23-13, 1581 South County Road 800 East setback. Request for approval of variance of development standards to allow for the construction of a single-family residence primary structure behind the existing pool and accessory structure. The property is zoned R2 and is located at 1581 East County Road 800 East. The appellant is Irvin Fisher, property owner.
Thank you, Ann. So this, as you said, it's a request for approval of a variance of development standards to construct a single-family residence behind an existing pool and accessory structures. It's located at 1581 South County Road 800 East, Avon, Indiana 46123. There we have the parcel number on screen, and it's a 1.7 acre parcel. This is the property in question. It is outlined in blue here. It's located on the east side of Dan Jones Road, just a bit south of 150 South here, and just north of the entrance into Oriole Point Drive. This is a just satellite imagery of the lot, a little zoomed in. You can see a pool here enclosed by a fence along here. We have a garage just north of the pool. There's a small outbuilding just to the west of the pool here. And then we have the existing residence here hidden behind the trees. And we're going to go a lot more into this, but I just wanted to give you a view as it is now. There's no significant property history associated with the subject parcel. County property records do indicate that the residence was constructed in 1960, as I understand it. Again, it's a request for approval of a variance of development standards to allow for the construction of a single-family residence, the primary structure, located behind an existing pool and accessory structure. There are actually 3 relevant ordinance standards here. We will consider this variance to encompass all of them. But Chapter 4.1B of the Town of Avon Unified Development Ordinance states that, except as provided elsewhere in the ordinance, all or part of an accessory use must be behind the rear building line of the principal building. Now it says except as provided elsewhere. So it is provided elsewhere in 5.1C of the Town of Avon UDO. And 5.1C states that accessory buildings for residential uses must be set back at least 10 feet behind the front facade of the principal building. Furthermore, Chapter 5.20B states that swimming pools or hot tubs cannot be in any required front, side, or rear yard or in front of the front building line of a principal use. Now, the request tonight comes as a result of the acquisition of a portion of the property by the town through eminent domain. So we acquired a portion of the appellant's property to accommodate the Dan Jones widening project that will be coming south through Dan Jones in phase 2. The portion of the property acquired by the town includes the existing residence. The property that we acquired does not include all of it, but it includes about half of the residence, but we will be demolishing the entire residence as part of the project. However, the town will not be acquiring or demolishing the pool nor the 2 accessory structures that are to remain on the lot. The appellant is therefore left to construct a new home on the property, but we find that they have a practical difficulty in meeting the aforementioned standards related to the location of the new primary structure. And we're going to dig further deeper into that. This isn't as viewable as I would like, but here are some preliminary plans for the Dan Jones widening project. Let's see here. The existing right-of-way is indicated here in this teal color here. The right-of-way and the expanded right-of-way, the proposed right-of-way is going to be in this dark blue here. So the dark blue is what the town has acquired from the appellant for the Dan Jones widening. Now, we also have a temporary right-of-way in this lavender here, and that is so that we can temporarily do the house demolition as part of the project. But the right-of-way will just be the dark blue here. Now, been working with the appellant. You had gotten just a hand-drawn site plan, and I had been waiting for a sealed survey from the applicant. And this is what I got after your staff reports had gone out. It's not a sealed survey, but it does include the existing garages, the pool, and the proposed residence. The little outbuilding in front of the existing pool had inexplicably been left off, so I added it in there. You will notice that the shed indicates a 40 feet away, a 40-foot setback. In your staff reports that I had given you, it had said 27. That was just a miscalculation from the site plan, but I verified that it's 40 feet, not the 27 that was in your site plan. So, with the frontmost building having a setback of 40 feet, the petitioner could, in theory, construct the proposed residence directly at the 25-foot setback and meet the standards of the ordinance. They would basically have a 5-foot buffer area where they could place the house so that it met that standard that the accessory building be 10 feet behind the front facade of the principal building. But we find that there's a practical difficulty because the town's decision to acquire and demolish just the house and not the accessory structures unduly restricts the the appellant's ability to construct a new home in a way that would otherwise be permissible under the ordinance. So basically, by taking the house and leaving the accessory structures and having the appellant reconstruct the house, we've basically pigeonholed for lack of a better word, pigeonholed the appellant into this 5-foot buffer that he can construct his house. We find that to be a practical difficulty. Furthermore, I had conversations with the town manager in which we discussed that it actually wouldn't be in the town's best interest to have the house remain so close to the road in the event that future right-of-way expansion may happen along Dan Jones. And again, we're expanding it now, so that could be 35, 40 years from now. But nonetheless, town of Avon would then have to acquire and demolish another home, adding to increased expenses. So we find there to be a clear practical difficulty. We don't believe that this will adversely affect the use and value of the adjoining property owners. And we don't think that it would create a risk to the public health, safety, general welfare of the public. In my staff report, I do talk about the pool being located in the front yard. And there is currently a 6-foot fence around the existing pool in the front yard. So our any concerns we may have are subsided by that. However, I was thinking about it further, and I was wondering how the demolition of the house, because it's so close to that pool area, might affect that fence, whether that fence will be demolished as part of the demolition of the house. So I did tack on a condition that said the pool area shall remain enclosed by a minimum 48-inch tall fence, which is standard for the Indiana residential code. So with that, I am available for questions.
So to follow up with that, with the condition, is the condition necessary? Because I believe isn't that a code for Hendricks County anyway?
I don't know that it would, let's see here.
So
I know
maybe-
it's a Indiana residential code. The building code, the residential building code requires that a fence be enclosed by a fence or an automatic pool cover.
Right. So I
But that would be at the construction of a new pool. It wouldn't apply to
An
legally
existing?
established non-conforming pools. As to whether,
okay. So I'm going to look. If Dan can help, I mean, it doesn't cause an issue here to have a condition where it may be law already.
No, I think the petitioner could have a pool cover, which would eliminate the need for the fence.
All right.
So I think the staff's position was that having the pool there would be a better aesthetic. And so we would prefer the fence rather than a pool cover with no fence. So I think that's what the staff was thinking. But I think it's state law that requires, it's just a child safety thing. It requires pools to have a fence or a cover so that children don't fall in pools. So it's just a state regulation.
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Dan.
Can I ask how many acres are on the whole property? Or we'll save that for the appellant.
1.78 would be the acreage of the property.
What is the expected timeline in terms, I'm assuming that the new residence would be built before the old residence is torn down, or?
That would ultimately be up to the owner. As I understand it, we are in the process of having it, not actively having it, but it is coming soon that it'll be demolished. I don't know the exact timeline of that demolition, but the actual sale of the property is final. Is that correct? Yeah.
Okay.
Now, at the current time, the property owner is displaced from their home. Obviously, we acquired it. and in talks with him, they're trying to figure out how they're going to get the sewer line to the house. So there are still some more things that need to be taken care of before that happens.
And this is, it's not on a well or septic?
It's on septic currently.
Okay.
The appellant may have more information on this, but I'm not sure that the health department is looking to provide them a permit to connect back to their existing septic system. But that's county health department, so that would be their decision.
Okay.
Have they submitted any plan for the new structure?
No, this
Sooner or?
This is preliminary at this point. At the time they do apply for their building permit, they would either need a septic permit from the county health department, or they would need a tap-in permit to the to West Central Conservancy District, the sewer provider. Furthermore, they would need a sealed site plan. But I think the reason we didn't get a sealed site plan is because they're still, if they need to grant an easement from the nearby sewer provider, then they would want to do the sealed site plan at that time, the survey.
So what kind of, maybe it's not the right question, but just, are there certain guidelines and boundaries that they will need to adhere to once that structure begins?
In terms of just general,
I guess
yep,
Avon,
they
or
would still-
just in that, I know that's a little unconventional stretch there because it's been there since the beginning of time, right?
sure.
So there may not be, at that time, there weren't a lot of codes, or there weren't a lot of, there weren't a lot of roadblocks to doing, they just did their thing.
So they would still need to conform to all other standards of the zoning ordinance. They would
That's
still
what I
need to meet all other setbacks. They would need to meet the architectural materials.
Okay.
And we've had discussions with the property owner. Originally, they had wanted something of a mobile home or a modular home, and there were issues that a mobile home might not be or would not be a permitted use in this zoning district. And then the modular home, if I recall correctly, didn't meet the minimum ground floor area for a home. So the property owners actually worked with us to get a proposal that meets all the rest of the standards of the ordinance. They're just seeking relief from the setback standard.
Thanks.
And aside from compliance, and perhaps certainly relevant to your consideration, is that it will result in a new home being on that site, which should improve the value of that overall. And so, Ian mentioned in his staff report that, on the second factor, how the granting the variance might affect fair market value in the area, will be, they'll demolish the old house and a new house, which conforms to all of our zoning ordinances, and subdivision control ordinance will be in its place, which certainly would address the second factor of your consideration about impact on fair market value in the surrounding area.
All right. We finished with our questions? I guess we'll hear from the appellant. Want to come up to the podium?
How y'all doing?
Good.
Your name and your address.
Name and address?
Yes.
Irwin Fisher, 1581 South County Road 800 East, Avon, Indiana, 46123. I gotta turn it on? Sorry. Did you get that?
Yep.
We
Now, if there's anything you'd like to say to the board, describe your request or anything further you'd like to say.
Just that I hope this goes through. My house that I've been living in for 34 years is going to be gone. So I just need a place to live. I mean, I answer any questions if I can.
Do you have an estimated time when you anticipate you'll be breaking ground on the new house?
Do I know when we're going to break ground in the new house? No, not exactly. I've been working on it for months and months and months, and I'm still working with the electric company and the gas company and the city sewer people, and we're just trying to work it all out, put it all together, one doable thing.
So is there, did the staff, as far as they described the situation, is that correct from your point of view? And there's nothing else you want to add to that for us? Other than just looking for the approval on
I'm
this?
sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Say again?
Maybe sum up, you're just looking for the approval to move forward, and you agree with what the staff report that they just described, the situation?
Yeah, I'm just looking for an approval. That's correct.
Okay.
So, Mr. Fisher, can you lend any input as to what your neighbors are thinking? Are they on board with whatever happens for you, or have you not had that discussion, or is that not important to you, or just curious, you know?
Say that again.
I'm
so I
just
wanna
curious what your neighbors are thinking. Have you just, about your house being gone, putting up something else? You know, neighbors sometimes think, right? What's going up here? How's it gonna affect me? So I'm just wondering, has there been any discussion with your?
With my neighbors?
Mhm.
No.
None? Okay.
No.
No, and nobody's upset about it, of
No,
course,
no,
but
I got, you can't really tell from the pictures, but
yeah,
my house
it's pretty secluded,
is kind of in the
isn't it?
middle of 2 acres.
Mhm.
And on the east side is a privacy fence and trees that are 30 feet tall. And on the south side, the same privacy fence, 6 foot tall, 30 foot tall trees.
Wow.
Nobody lives across the street from me on Dan Jones Road. It's a creek and a bare lot. I got actually one neighbor which lives to the north of me, and we get along just fine. He's lived there for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
And you know,
right.
we talk. We've never had a problem.
I'm just curious, you know, I'm more used to neighborhoods where people are more on top of one another and they're always seeing
Right.
and new things going in or old things coming out or changes, right?
Right.
So I just like to ask those kind of questions.
I've been fortunate. I've lived there for 34 years, and that neighborhood behind me, I don't know how long it's been there now, but I knew a couple people that moved in when it first got built, and then people started moving on to something different or something different location, and a lot of those houses now are rentals. So I don't know the owners. You're welcome.
Any other questions of the appellant? All right. Do we have any? We're done, Mr. Fisher.
So we're
You can
done?
have a seat. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pamela Pilcher, and I'm on 1622 Stanford Drive. I'm in the Oriole Point neighborhood, and I'm your neighbor. Nice to meet you, too. And I'm the one who has the fence right against your property. And so, I came because I wanted to find out what's being built behind me. And so you've been very informative. Very thankful for your research. Thanks for all the work you've done, and it's been a great report. I care about my neighbors, even when I can't see them. And I'm the one that has of my neighborhood, and you might have known the original neighborhood, the gentleman who was an older gentleman that I bought the house from. Can't remember his name right off. It just, you know how it is. But I'm the one that has the water drain in my backyard for the neighborhood. And since I'm right against the fence, my question and what I came to hear is where do you tie in? Is it going to be my backyard where all those trees are? or,
I'm not sure which house.
Excuse me. Please, if you would address your comments to the board and not to
Oh.
the appellant, please.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for, but anyway, so that was my question. And comment is just to find out and then, to find out just as far as where the tie-in goes and how the property, my property would be affected. And it might not be whatsoever. But anyway, so it's been just a kudos to you too. Thank you so much. It's been a great report. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anything else that's come up? No. No more public comment? All right.
Now, as part of the rules of procedures, the appellant does have the opportunity to rebut
Answer.
if he wishes.
Mr. Fisher, would you like to say anything?
What?
Would you like to come up and say anything to your neighbor about the project?
Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
my name's Irvin.
Yeah.
Which house are you in?
The 1622, it backs right up against the back part.
Of my house?
Yeah,
Okay.
your yard, yeah.
Is there another house beside you that's a rental?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. There's people, owners, I don't even know who they are. But as far as I can tell from talking to the sewer people, the engineers and all the people that I've talked to, if they decide to go ahead and put in city sewer, which is what they're requesting me to do, it'll be like underground. I'm not an engineer, but I'm just telling you what they've told me. It'll be drilled underground, and there'll be a small area where it hooks into the city sewer that they'll have to dig it up right there, and then they'll cover it back up and put grass on it and seed it. As far as I can tell, they'll probably drill from my property clear underneath your property to within a very short distance of the actual sewer connection.
Okay.
So I don't think it'll be, I'm not an engineer, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's noticeable.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Does the board have any questions? Comments?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I just have one quick question for you. I'm sorry, I missed your last name.
Pilcher.
Pilcher? So I'm assuming you're in favor of this. You don't have any objections.
Yeah,
Okay.
hearing the report, all my questions.
Okay.
Thoroughly answered. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to determine that. Thank you.
Well, I think that to me, this is pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously, this was a condition created by the town. Mr. Fisher did not create this himself. And obviously, he has the right to be able to have a residence on his property if this current residence is being torn down, considering the fact that the house will be set further back from the road. And I agree with the staff's assessment that this will actually improve the area because it'll be a brand-new home that meets all the ordinances versus the home that was built in 1960. So I see no reason why we should not approve this request.
Any other comments? I'd like to commend staff on a very well put together report. And I think another consideration is the future widening of Dan Jones Road is a big consideration too. We don't need to learn our lesson twice. With that, do we have a motion that you'd like to entertain?
I move that we approve VAR 2313, a variance of development standards to allow for the construction of a single-family residence behind an existing pool and accessory structures, since it has satisfied all the requirements for variances of development standards under state law and subject to the approved finding of facts. Subject to the following condition, the pool area shall remain enclosed by a minimum of 48-inch tall fence.
Second.
I'll second.
We have 2 seconds.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, wasn't listening. Well, I was, but I wasn't.
Paul Guckenberger,
4.
Ann Inman,
4?
Catherine Ransberg,
4.
Marcy Tashler.
4.
Motion carries. Variance is approved.
Do we have any other business?
Yeah, we talked about it briefly, but just wanted to again introduce you to Drew Wilson, who I think is going to be my new help here.
Yep.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Drew?
Hello, board. My name is Drew Wilson. I came over from Public Works. I was the MS4 coordinator over there, and there was a need for a code enforcement officer after a staff member left. So I thought I have experience in that field, so I kind of just took over that position along with my regular duties. So comes with that, comes with Ian, so I'm here to help Ian too. So
As I'm sitting here, I'm realizing that I now have a subject matter expert in public works here with me to
Yay.
help me through these meetings. So I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, but I'm happy for that.
I like that. I'm glad to be here. I'm eager to learn. So if you guys have any questions, I can answer them. Best
Welcome
of my
aboard.
ability. Thank you.
And we can dismiss you, and thank you. The meeting is adjourned.
You'll have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you.